Hello and welcome to the third episode of Premier Perspective. Today we are going to be speaking of Match Week 11, a preview for you. But before we start anything, we wanted to say rest in peace to one of the greatest players to ever touch a football, Diego Maradona. Unfortunately, he passed away yesterday, the day that we're recording. So we wanted to uh, send our wishes out to anyone who's suffering from that and to just acknowledge one of the greatest players to ever play the beautiful game.
Yeah, of course, hate to see one of the greatest go like that, but um, he accomplished a lot of things in his career playing. Obviously, you never like to see him go that early, but he did a lot, and he did a lot to help evolve the game and coaching, just a lot of energy that a lot of people fed off of, and a lot of people loved him for.
100%. Such great soccer memories that we have watching Diego Maradona. Everyone knows about the hand of God situation and how much of a legendary impact that's had. Something that it was funny. It was not that long ago. Someone asked Diego Maradona if there's anything that you could change about that moment of the hand of God where he scored the goal with his hand. Like, would you change that moment? And he said that if he was able to change that moment again, that he would score with his other hand instead. So I thought that was a nice little moment, nice little moment that he shared. Something nice before he passed away. But Diego Maradona will go down as one of the greatest to ever play, and we just wanted to acknowledge him before we started talking about this week's Premier League games. So to now kick off match week 11, right? Match week 11?
Yeah, match week 10, Matt.
Match week 10, my bad. Match week 10. Um, we're going to begin with Crystal Palace versus Newcastle. Now, both teams suffered a loss last weekend. Crystal Palace probably the one that was more likely to win it last week, but didn't. So Palace would be hungry for a win after their loss versus Burnley. They're unfortunately without, you could say, without their star player Wilfred Zaha. He's currently out right now with COVID-19, so that will be a big factor for them, considering that they're missing their star player. But this is a toss-up game, to be honest, so it could really go either way.
Yeah, both teams, at times they can look really good, at times they can look pretty weak, but I think without Zaha and Palace's attacking force, that could really be an issue for them because he's been playing really well this season, and with Palace about mid-table, I think about eighth or ninth at the moment. They rely on that guy that can score goals. Sure, they can hold a defensive position well every once in a while, but they need somebody that can get up there and score goals, and Zaha has been that main guy for them, so that will definitely be a problem.
Yeah, I think they will definitely miss the impact of Wilfred Zaha. He's always been their most creative player going forward. He's always been probably the best player in Palace for years now. So they definitely will miss him for his time out right now. But Palace does a good squad. Newcastle does too. I think Newcastle does have a slight edge here, but I can see this game going either way.
Yeah, I agree. It could go either way. I think somebody will come out and win it. I don't think it'll end in a draw, but Newcastle, I think they do have an edge, especially with Palace needing to find goals from elsewhere.
So yeah, speaking about scoring goals, a scoring goal team right here we have next is Liverpool. Now, Liverpool just came off a midweek Champions League defeat at home versus Atalanta, 2-0 loss. I don't really think it's anything for Liverpool to worry about, but it does show that they can be weak at times, especially now defensively, considering all the injuries that they have. So I think I wouldn't say it's anything for Liverpool fans to be worried about, but it is a warning sign that if a team does come out while attacking, that they could really do something, really do damage to them. Brighton, on the other hand, they beat Villa last week, a little bit of a surprise win. But Liverpool are still dangerous despite the injury situation. Lamptey is out, arguably Brighton's best player this season due to a red card that was a little questionable in my opinion. But at the end of the day, the refs make a decision and Lamptey will be unavailable for the game. So How much that will impact Brighton, I don't know. I still think Liverpool have the edge whether he would play or not. So
Yeah, for sure. I still think Liverpool would be able to come away with a win, with or without Lamptey, but that'll definitely be a problem for them because he just brings so much energy to that Brighton team. At times, especially in like a midfield battle, even though he plays more of a right wing back at times, sometimes a right wing, or sometimes drifts into a central position in kind of an inverted formation. He's kind of been their identity when it comes to energy. Of course, they have Neil Maupay up top who can score goals, and has at times, but um, Lamptey's been he's been their main energy in that team. So without them against a high energy team like Liverpool, again, despite the injury situation, Liverpool, I don't think it's nothing for them to worry about. Despite losing to Atlanta, who are a good team, they're a very good team, have very talented players. But I have my first key player for the week, Diego Jota, who has scored. I think he scored about how many goals has he scored so far since he joined Liverpool? It's probably about 12 or
yeah,
13 at
I'm
this
not
point.
sure the exact number, but
But
he's
it's
been
I think it's over 10 though. So
yeah, he's
it's
been a menace so far. I would say surprise signing. When I
yeah,
saw Liverpool,
definitely a surprise
yeah,
signing. And
when
I
I saw
wasn't with it at first.
Liverpool, yeah, when I
Yeah,
saw Liverpool sign him, I was just like, okay, like they're just want the depth of their squad. Like he's probably never gonna really play anyway because when you have an attacking front three of Salah, Mane,
right.
Firmino, like you don't really
You
expect
can't break
anyone.
that. Right. That's something.
Origi's a great player. He doesn't play much. Shaqiri's a great player. He doesn't play much. So I didn't really see anything different with Jota, but he's been a amazing thing for Liverpool so far this season.
Yeah, I mean he's been in that one game he scored a hat trick in. I forget who it was against, but I think it was in Champions League game. But he's been playing insane. He's always on the end of a loose ball on the attacking end. He's always there. Another high energy player up top. And now seeing the situation at Liverpool, mostly defenders, but some attackers too. Recently losing Mo Salah, who's back now from COVID-19, but they needed that depth in their squad. And I honestly thought when I saw that signing from Wolves, I was like, one, why would Wolves give up one of their best players like that? And two, why do Liverpool need them? Why do they need Diego Jota? Because they have such a strong attacking force, but he's gotten into it um, many times, and he started games, and he's been playing really well and proved that he can be up there with them. He's not a bench player. He's not a rotation player. He's there for it, and I love watching him play, despite obviously being a City fan. It's great watching him play. A player that's always hungry to score goals, unpredictable on the attacking end, can create something out of nothing. So you love to see it.
And so, yeah, I think Jota will definitely have his impact. And moving on to the next game, we have Manchester City versus Burnley. Now, Burnley had a big win against Palace. I don't think many people were expecting them to win, but they are playing Manchester City, who are pretty much the story of the season of what is going on. No,
I don't know
I
what's happening.
don't
I don't know what's
know.
happening.
I don't. I mentioned this in I think it was the last video versus Tottenham. You never really imagined a Pep Guardiola side that's not scoring goals.
Yeah.
So it's really confusing what's wrong with City. It seems like they're just not clinical enough. I feel like they're lacking creativity in the midfield. It's like that passion that they had is gone. Is that the coach's fault? Is that the players? Don't really know. But City needs to win this game. If they don't, it's time to really look at themselves and tell themselves like, what are they doing? What are their goals for the season? If they're not going to be able to win a home game versus Burnley, obviously it's more important for City this game. I think it's really important for City to make a statement. Like I think with the issues that Manchester City's had so far, if Manchester City were able to go this weekend at home versus Burnley and score 4 or 5 goals and win the game, that would be usual Manchester City
Yeah.
expectations. But now it would be them making a statement and telling the rest of the league that yeah, we've started poorly, but we're still in this.
And we can still score goals, especially seeing them yesterday at, I think was it at Olympiacos.
Yeah, at
They I
Olympiacos.
mean we were texting each other like they should have scored
Yeah.
in the first half. They should have scored 3-4 goals by now, like, and they should have. Phil Foden played great and the team played great. It's just, and the attacking energy seemed to be there, but they just couldn't put him away.
Yeah,
So
it's that
yeah,
clinical
just
part of
don't.
their game that has been lacking pretty much the whole season.
Yeah,
And
just
I would
don't really
say
know what's
that
going on.
that's what's the biggest issue. And if City don't solve that, then it's gonna be a very, very, very long season for them. However, at home versus Burnley, I think that they'll be able to grab a victory and take the 3 points home. But I feel like like I said before, like this needs to be a statement win. There has to be something really strong from them today. And if not, then I'm gonna be disappointed, especially me as a City fan. But I'm hoping for the best this weekend. And yeah, I think 3 points for City here. Moving on to I think what will be a really good game this weekend is Everton versus Leeds United. Now, this is an intriguing game as both sides are in somewhat of a mixed form, but Leeds looked well against Arsenal. Now, the only issue that I saw with their game against Arsenal was their inability to score a goal. Attacking wise, they seemed well. They had a lot of chances, but they just couldn't finish any of them off. Arsenal, I don't really know what to expect from them. It could really be whatever week in and week out, but they've now gone, I believe it's 500 minutes now without a goal from open play. So that's a bit of concern. Oh, I'm talking about Arsenal. Why am I talking about Arsenal?
No, they played him. They played him last week.
Yeah, yeah.
They played him last week.
I was like, I'm thinking right now. I'm like, am I sidetracking? I'm like, yeah.
Yeah.
Arsenal's been shaky, but we're not there yet. Everton, Everton, played well against Fulham, and Fulham obviously is not really that a squad that you're expecting much from, but Everton did play well. I think Hamas had a good game. Decore had a good game. So I think this could go either way between Everton and Leeds, but I think that Everton being at home that they'll have an advantage and take the 3 points home.
Yeah, I totally agree with that. Leeds, been on and off. They've had good performances, most of them on the defensive end. Just haven't been able to score a goal really. And with players like Hamas, like Calvert-Lewin, who are so strong in the air, and Hamas at his feet, obviously with being the technical talent that he is, they're going to be able to score goals against Leeds. And a defensive performance can only go so far when you can't score goals. So I think that's definitely going to be a problem for Leeds. It's going to be the reason why Everton wins the game. And I see you have your key player up here, which is a very viable one for the game.
Yeah, top goal scorer of the league, Dominic Calvert-Lewin.
Top goal scorer, really?
Yeah, I believe he's top
Really?
goal scorer. Yeah, 12 goals he has, I think now
Wow.
after his
I
two
didn't know. Yeah.
versus Fulham. Yeah, I have him as my key player of the week because what I said last week about Everton's game versus Fulham that I think that Calvert-Lewin and Richarlison needed to step up, and within the first minute, Richarlison assisted a goal for Dominic Calvert-Lewin. So I'm gonna give myself some props for that because I was able to see that well. But I think Dominic Calvert-Lewin does need another big game, and I think it'll be important for him to score another goal this weekend. Leeds, you never really know what side you're gonna get. You know, they played well against City and Liverpool this season, but they've also lost against some other questionable teams. But I think Everton will be able to take this home this weekend.
Yeah, for sure. Totally agree with that. Moving on to the next game, probably the most boring one of the week. It's a battle between 19th and 20th, West Brom versus Sheffield. West Brom 19th and Sheffield in 20th. Um, it'll be a pretty boring game. Both teams both look to be relegated at the moment. They both had chances to get points last weekend and failed to. And they have before, at this point we're in match week 10, so they've had multiple chances. Um, it would probably end in a draw, either 0-0 or 1-1, low scoring, because both teams have struggled to score. Obviously, being the bottom two in the table, struggled to score goals, struggled to defend. Even though West Brom played very well against Manchester United, even though Manchester United should have put a couple more goals in against them.
Definitely should have
Um,
put more goals in.
yeah, but so don't really know what was going on with United there, but you know how United is. Um, but it'll probably end in a draw. Pretty boring game, but whatever team, say one team wins, it'll be their first win, and that'll be big for them because when you win your first game, I mean, you know how it feels like being a player, you you can keep going, and that kind of fuels you to keep going. You build momentum, no matter what team you're going against. Because once you win that first game, you know what's work, even if it's against the other bottom team in the table. So you know what works. You know, you don't know find out your identity, your team identity from winning a game, from winning a singular game, but you have an idea of what works and what we need to do going to the next game in order to keep this going and maybe get out of relegation.
Yeah, I think like you said, it will be huge for whoever wins this game. I feel like West Brom might have a slight advantage considering that since both teams have been struggling, but West Brom is at home. But I feel like either way, the game could go either way. But like you said, I think that's really important to mention that it's huge for whoever wins because this will be their first win of the season. It'll give them momentum and it'll set them in a better path. Now, I don't really think either of these teams are gonna stay up this year, but I think it could be helpful for them. Now, moving on to another great game this weekend, we have Southampton versus Manchester United. United struggled to beat West Brom a bit. It was comfortable for them, but it should have been more of a convincing victory, in my opinion. Southampton have been pretty great despite their draw at Wolves. And United, as we know, they're inconsistent. They played well, though, during the week in the UCL. First half, great performance. Second
That
half, a bit
Bruno goal,
shaky. Yeah,
that
Bruno
Bruno
had
goal,
amazing goal.
the volley,
Yeah, that was amazing goal
beautiful.
from Bruno. Um, their league form seems to be improving a bit, but you never really know when it comes with Manchester United. But as my key player that I have Bruno Fernandes. Um, I feel like whether United play good or not, Bruno Fernandes is going to be doing something, whether it's scoring a goal, scoring a penalty, getting an assist. I feel like no matter what, Bruno's going to be doing something on the field.
Yeah,
So I feel,
he's always creating something, always something good for him. He's always on the end of a ball. He seems to be everywhere, honestly, and that's great. Love watching him play. It's he's a really talented player. Always knows where to be. That's where you see. I mean, I know he scored the kind of almost a tap in against Istanbul, Turkey. Uh, yeah, earlier in the week in the Champions League, but still he knows where to be. He knows where to be to receive a pass, send a ball through, and he's been really great. We people didn't know if he was going to be able to continue what he was doing from the end of last season, carrying it into this season. And he's proved that he can. That it wasn't just a one-time thing. It wasn't just beginner's luck. Signing for United, he's there to stay in that team, and he's been, you could say, the identity of it. Especially, I mean, penalties help. Even he said that when because he's this week he got awarded the not awarded, but he's the quickest United midfielder to reach 20 goals. And he even said, penalties help because 12 of the 20, 60% of those were penalties. But still, he's a talented penalty taker, a passive one, which, tends to be the way to go. He scored most of them. He hasn't missed too many, maybe one or two, but he's been amazing. So definitely a viable option for a key player for you this week.
yeah. Now Bruno Fernandes is at a point where you wonder, even with United being in shaky form this year, I start to think to myself, imagine how they would be without Bruno Fernandes. Who knows?
No, I couldn't tell you
Yeah,
because
so I think Bruno Fernandez has had a really positive, impactful approach to United's gameplay, and I think that he'll be one of their best players, if not their best player, for years to come. I think United will be able to grab a victory away at Southampton. I think it would be a really big statement victory for United, considering that Southampton has been a good team and that their form has been questionable. But I think if United were able to grab 3 points away this weekend, that they'll be putting themselves in a good path for the rest of the league campaign.
yeah,
And
pretty sure Southampton missing Danny Ings too. I'm pretty sure he got injured. He's out for a little bit. Their main goal scorer. I think he was almost top goal scorer last season,
yeah,
which
he
is
was pretty
crazy to think.
close.
Yeah, um so going into the next game this week, we have Arsenal versus Wolves. Both teams in questionable form right now. Not bad, not good either. Nothing to write home about. Arsenal played to a draw at Leeds, who's been good defensively, but a team like Arsenal, with all the attacking power they have, should be creating a little more against a team like Leeds, despite their solid defensive plays. Wolves drew versus Southampton. Wolves, with the loss of not loss, but their loss of Diego Jota to Liverpool. Well, they drew at Southampton. Been struggling to score a little bit this season. Podence kind of been waiting for him to keep playing well. He played really well against City in the first game of the season, even though they lost the game. But he played really well there. Brings a lot of energy. I think they need to look to him more to be that energy player in the Wolves team. We predict a draw 1-1. It's going to be a good back and forth game. Both teams are going to want to attack. That's how they've always been. Adama Traore, um, he's it's going to be rough for Arsenal to defend that because their fullbacks they're quicker players. Who do they have on the fullbacks? They have Tierney, who's pretty quick, and Bellerin,
And
who's
Bellerin, yeah.
who's really fast. But their center backs, whether the fullback and the center back can link up and lock down Adama Traore, who hasn't been great this season. Honestly, people kind of found out how to defend him. Not that difficult to just step in front of the quick player and shut down his lane, but still somebody you have to be careful for. Those players are tricky. You never know what you're gonna get.
Yeah, you never really know what you're gonna get from Adama Traore. I feel like he's one of those players that um it really depends on himself whether he's gonna play good or not. He's a little shaky in terms of form. You never really know what you're gonna get from him. But in terms of Arsenal, as I kind of zoned out as we were speaking earlier, that Arsenal hasn't scored in 500 minutes, which is a bit concerning if you're a coach that you
From
can't
open play,
score
from open
from
play.
open play. Yeah,
Yeah,
they haven't
they
scored
haven't
from.
not scored at all. That would be really bad.
Yeah, that would be really bad. I mean, they've had a couple penalties or whatever free kicks,
Yeah, it's just
but
whatever that. I don't know what is open play considered. I
I
guess
think open play is just not.
not
I
set
would.
pieces.
Yeah, I was gonna
Yeah,
say, but a corner, I feel like that's open play, isn't it? I don't know. I don't know
yeah. I don't know.
what
Either
the
way,
exact definition, but either way, they haven't. It's been 500 plus minutes, and that's concern if you're Arteta. Um, Aubameyang after signing the huge contract this summer has been absolutely nowhere so far. Um, I don't really know what to expect from him, and now Arsenal gonna be without Pepe this week as he got a red card for headbutting a player last weekend.
yeah, you can't do that.
I feel like Arsenal's just a bit of a mess right now.
Yeah, they're kind of falling apart.
Um, but Wolves haven't been great either, so I feel like that's a bit of a helpful for Arsenal. I think a draw is like a reasonable prediction. I feel like if anything, Wolves might have a slight advantage, but I can see this game going either way. But a draw seems reasonable. And next we have Leicester versus Fulham. Now Leicester took a 3-0 loss to Liverpool, but they should definitely be able to bounce back at home versus Fulham, who hasn't really been that great so far this season. Fulham scored two against Everton, but they never really looked convincing at all. Leicester will bounce back, in my opinion, and take the 3 points home, but I'm not really sure how much of a battle Fulham could really put up. I mean, you never really know with the Premier League; anything could happen. But I just feel like defensively they've been pretty awful from what I've seen. So I don't know. I feel like Jamie Vardy could have a big game,
Yeah, definitely,
take
definitely.
advantage of a shaky back line and score a goal. But yeah, I think that this is pretty straightforward and that Leicester is gonna be able to win this game.
Yeah, I mean for sure. Despite losing to Liverpool 3-0, I mean Liverpool's a great team. They're aside from their injuries and illnesses within their squad, I mean they've played really well. And no matter what, no matter who they have, no matter who they're playing, they're always solid. They always stay together, and there's no shame in a team like Leicester losing to a team like Liverpool. Leicester, even though they've been solid, sometimes you expect them to put in a bit more of a performance. But you also have to remember they're not one of these super teams. They're not a Liverpool. They're not a uh, I mean, I'm hesitant to say Man City, but money and players wise, Man City should be considered a super team.
Yeah.
Same with like Chelsea and all that. But Leicester, a great team, been really solid, pretty high in the table. I'm pretty sure they're somewhere in the top five right now. Yeah, they should definitely put away Fulham pretty easily. Vardy could come up with a goal or two, maybe a hat trick. Wouldn't be surprised at all against a Fulham defense who, at times, it's almost too easy to just walk it in.
Yeah, Leicester's currently in fourth right now. So yeah, I think this is comfortable for them. But moving on to another good game this week, we have West Ham versus Aston Villa. Now, West Ham, you never really know what you're gonna get from them, but they had a bit of a scrappy win versus Sheffield 1-0. They never really looked too great, but against a team like Sheffield, who's been poor this season, I guess you don't really necessarily need the best performance to take a victory there. Villa will be looking to recover after their loss at Brighton, a bit of a disappointing result for them. I think the game will be back and forth, but I think Villa does have a slight edge this week.
Yeah, I totally agree. Villa, you know, at one point top of the table. Now, I think that was just the beginning of the season, good form in the beginning, and then got thrown off of it. But they're still a good team. You can't take away from it. The link between Grealish and Barkley, they've played amazing together. I actually have Jack Grealish as my second key player of the week. Um, yeah, he's been amazing. He's really talented. I mean, at times he's had it a little too. I mean, against Arsenal, they were able to break down Arsenal so easily. But still, you can't take away from that. He's a talented player, all around player. He can score a goal um, from almost wherever, as long as he's within shooting range. He can create. He can carry a ball, almost the same as Son does for Tottenham in the way he has in the past. And I think a way uh, that Aston Villa would be a little more effective, a little more consistent, would be if they played Grealish almost as Son, kind of in that carrying role. Um, but they have players around him. The only problem with Aston Villa is they don't have the same talent players um,
Yeah,
all around him. You know what I mean? Which is why it wouldn't work. But um, yeah, Jack Grealish definitely could have a big game against West Ham, who has been very questionable. I mean, struggled to win against Sheffield, who is currently bottom of the league. So I think he'll have a big game, be able to create. Might not score a whole lot of goals, but definitely he'll create and be a problem for West Ham.
yeah, definitely think Grealish will have a big impact in the game. His form has been well this season, as we've all seen, and I think that he's a player definitely for the future. I could see him making a big money move to one of the bigger teams in the Prem,
For sure, I could
but
definitely see
that's
that.
only time will tell. And now, speaking about big clubs in the Prem, we have our match of the week. Match
Match
of
of the
the
week,
week:
big game,
Chelsea
big game.
versus Tottenham.
It's gonna be a
Big
wow.
game.
Yeah,
Gonna be a great game for sure.
very
100% gonna be
excited.
a good game. Both teams coming off great wins, despite Chelsea beating Newcastle on an own goal and a Tammy Abraham goal. They completely dominated and were very impressive versus Newcastle. And as we all know, Tottenham was great versus Manchester City. Great tactical performance from Jose Mourinho there.
Yep,
Now we have Lampard versus Mourinho, and this is going to be a great matchup to see. As we all know, Lampard used to be coached by Mourinho, so I think this is pretty cool now that Lampard is the coach and that we could
yeah. You
witness
love to
this.
see like the full circle of it.
Yeah, definitely full circle from that. It's definitely going to be another good tactical battle between the managers. Chelsea good attacking play and their ability to open up a team might prove to be a big issue for Tottenham's defense, who were split quite easily versus City. However, City were unable to finish any chances. Now, will Chelsea be more efficient? That's only a matter of game time and whether their strikers are clinical or not. Chelsea are a dangerous team. Thiago Silva now back in the squad. I feel like that's great for them. Now, how will Thiago Silva face against Kane and Son, who are filled with pace for days? Kyung-min Son, great game against Manchester City. Kane, great game against Manchester City. I think both of them have been amazing, and I have as my key player, who I think will have the biggest week out of anyone this week, Harry Kane. Harry Kane has been amazing this year. I know personally when Harry Kane came onto the scene, I was like, oh, Harry Kane, like everyone's hyping him up. Another hyped young English player. Like he's not gonna last for a while. Like,
Yeah. Usually how
and
they are.
oh, did he prove me wrong? I don't think I've ever gotten a player prediction that bad before. But
Yeah.
Harry Kane has been absolutely amazing for seasons now, and this year has been no different. He's surprisingly been striving under Mourinho. There's a lot of question marks whether Harry Kane will fit in Jose Mourinho's system, but Kane's been amazing. So I'm expecting more this weekend versus Chelsea.
Yeah, totally. I mean, him and Son, that link between him and Son, it's so dangerous. Like between them, they have probably at this point about 25 contributions, probably not 25 separate goals because a lot of them are between
Yeah,
each
all
other.
of them together. Yeah,
But either way, like their connection. I mean, that one game, I think it was the United game where they beat him 6-1. Which is, crazy by the way, how United can lose 6-1 to Tottenham, but um, the Kane and Son, I'm pretty sure didn't Son score 4 and Kane
yeah,
assist 4? Like
yes. Kane
that was
assisted all
insane.
four of them, and
That
just
was
like
insane. That link was it was absolutely insane.
yeah,
And I think this will be a huge test for Thiago Silva because Thiago Silva, we know he can play at a high level. Um, PSG, I don't know how much of a high level I would call that. The league at least. I mean, he
yeah,
definitely played well in the Champions League, not taken away from him at all. But PSG,
yeah, for sure.
you're not playing consistent
Consistent, strong opponents. Yeah,
competition in Ligue 1. You know what I mean? But Chelsea have a dangerous team. It depends when Kai Havertz is going to be put back into that team, in that double eight role in the midfield, like the hexagon shape that they have in there, with Conte holding. I personally don't think he's going to work next to Mason Mount just because they're both so attacking minded. I think he needs to be next to Jorginho, who holds the ball up a little bit. Um, but Chelsea are just stacked with so many talented players, and I know they just signed all of them, and uh, it's difficult to get it all together, especially only in match week 10, considering we didn't even have like a preseason, because COVID and all that, and um the previous year of the league, the 1920 season, ended a little later, and there was barely any time in between the beginning of this season. But Chelsea, it's going to be rough for them or it has been a little difficult for them to get it together this season. You can't blame them for that just because there's so many new players, there's so many different kinds of players, and they can work together, but that takes time. And within you're not going to get it within 2 months. You're just not.
yeah.
And
It's
when
gonna
that
be a
comes
system
together,
that takes a while.
right, but either way, I mean, they've been playing really well, and individual talent will definitely carry them. Um, Thiago Silva, again, he could be that solid defensive player that might even be able to shut down that Kane and Son link because he's played against good opposition before.
Playing against the best. Yeah,
Yeah, he's played. I mean, for all teams, um, has played, Brazil, PSG, all that. So, but for Chelsea, they've been good going forward, even though they only scored. Well, they had the own goal. They won on an own goal in that Tammy Abraham goal in the Newcastle game. They dominated that game. They should have scored more. And aside from not being clinical, they looked really dangerous. If they played like that against another team and were more clinical, then they would have won that game easily, like 6-0. Then and it was just dangerous. So for my last key player of the week, I have Tammy Abraham. Yours is great too, Harry Kane for sure. Definitely is going to kick up this weekend. But Tammy Abraham, scoring that goal, he always seems to know where to be. He knows how to uh, pull a goal out when he needs to, and he creates. He's dangerous in the box. You see how much defenders have to lock down on him. And even if he's not scoring, he's able to lay it off to somebody else who can score, and defenders almost gravitate to him. It's hard for them to stay away from him because they don't know what he's going to do. And there's so many kind of off topic, not too off topic, but England has so many talented strikers. I mean, looking at these two, just Harry Kane, Tammy Abraham in one game. And
yeah.
then you have like Jamie Vardy
Marty,
and
Danny
even
Ings.
like Danny Ings when he comes back.
Yeah,
Even though he's been there for a while, it feels like Danny Ings has been around for forever, but he's not that old. I think he's only like 25, 26.
yeah,
But still, England just so many talented players in it. It's great to see a little bit more flavor in English strikers. You know what I mean? They always seem to be so this is how we play. You know what I mean?
yeah,
And now there's so much more flavor in it, and you love to see it, especially with Vardy, winning the league with Leicester, scored a whole lot of goals, and he was just so exciting to watch. Harry Kane is so exciting to watch. He almost plays as a false nine now, which is great for him. it works so well for him because he's able to score goals and he carries that ball. And you're not gonna
Yeah,
if
he has the
Harry Kane
technical
is
ability to do it, and
right.
that's
And I don't think
as
we
you
ever
see with
realized that.
false nines is that he's such a great passer,
Yep.
and people who play that false nine role, you have to be really good at it, and we've seen it with now Kane at Tottenham, Firmino at Liverpool. It's a hard role to play, but if you play it right, it's gonna work in the team's favor.
Yeah, definitely. And it's been good for Tottenham, but Chelsea, they have who's their left back? Ben Chilwell, pretty sure at left back. Um, and then center backs probably Rudiger and
Or
Thiago
Zuma,
Silva,
it'll be Zuma.
Zuma,
Yeah,
Zuma and Thiago Silva, and Conte in that CDM. It'll be it'll be difficult for
yeah,
Tottenham to break down that defense, especially that Conte and Thiago Silva. Conte's insane. Absolutely love him. Always knows where to be. So solid, despite his size. It just doesn't matter for him. He's
yeah.
always able to
It's also a question of how much of an impact will Tottenham's center mids have again, like how they did against Manchester City.
right. They're gonna need
Uh,
to. Yeah,
yeah, you wonder if Tottenham's gonna be at, I want to say passive, but as defensive as they were against City, probably not.
they won't be able to.
So
They won't be able to.
it'll be cool to see how Mourinho approaches this game. Personally, I think Tottenham has an edge. Even though they're away at home, I feel like Mourinho being more experienced with Kane and Son in the form that they're in, with how great they played against Manchester City, I think Tottenham could take the points here.
Yeah, for sure. It'll be a great game.
Yeah, it'll be a great game. It could easily go either way, but I think that I have personally Tottenham having the slight edge.
Yep.
Now to wrap it up, we have a great games this weekend. Don't forget to check them all out through NBC Sports Network if anyone's watching in the States. I think that these are going to be a bunch of great games that you should definitely check out.
Hmm.
With our game of the week, Chelsea versus Tottenham. Now this
Definitely a watch.
video will be out Friday morning, Friday afternoon. So even though we're here recording on Thursday, we just want to wish everyone a happy Thanksgiving from Premier Perspective. We're really grateful for all the support that we've had so far. 300 views combined for our first two videos. We greatly appreciate it. We have I think, we have a little over 50 subscribers now on YouTube, 150 or close to it, I think,
Yeah, just about.
followers on
Yep.
Instagram. So we really appreciate everything that we've had so far. We appreciate the support. And we're always looking for suggestions. We're always looking for comments. If you're ever interested in joining us and becoming on the show, we're very, very close to introducing you guys to our first guest on our show.
Very excited.
And
Yep.
we're very excited for what we have to come in the future. And we just wanted to say that on this Thanksgiving that we're thankful for you guys and for everything you've done so far.
Yeah, again, just to say again, what Javi, thank you guys for all the support. If you like, if you enjoy it, just tell your friends about it, tell your family about it. If you think they'd be interested in it, if you'd be interested on joining us, coming on the show, send us a DM to the Instagram. The Instagram is premier.perspective. Yeah, just send a DM to that Instagram. We're definitely open to it. Just let us know and let us know what team you support as well, because that could go into when we feature you on the show. But yeah, we hope you guys have a happy Thanksgiving. Enjoy yourselves, enjoy your time, enjoy the day off, enjoy the day with your family, and just thank you guys for all the support lately.
Yes, once again, thank you so much. And we're going to say goodbye now. We hope you all tune in to this episode. Thank you for watching. And our next episode will be out. We're going to definitely do another double upload next week. Two videos coming at you next week. So we'll see you then. And thank you. Peace out.